the young and the restless. Diane has concerns. Kyle comes up with an idea to salvage his relationship, and Nikki tries to end a long-standing feud. Nikki and Victoria sit on the patio at Crimson Lights and make small talk about the kids until talk inevitably turns to the loss of Cole. Victoria wants to focus on the positive things in life. She wants to be excited about Victor backing off of Claire and Kyle, but she doesn't really trust it. They debate whether Victor's playing a long game with Kyle. Nikki can't see him trusting Kyle given his feelings toward Jack. Victoria's afraid Kyle will never be safe from her dad's anger. They agree his loathing for Jack's not going anywhere. Victoria admits she's still worried about Claire in the wake of Cole's death. Nikki thinks that if Claire had something bigger to focus on, it might help her heal. A promotion is in order. Victoria's thrilled and tells her mother that Claire should be there soon. She's sure she's with Kyle, and their relationship is thriving without Victor's interference. Jack spots Victor at society and stops by his table to trade insults. The abbot crabs about him going after Kyle and Claire even though his beef is with him. Victor says he's seen to it that his granddaughter is happy. If there are troubles in Jack's family, that's on him. Jack tells Victor he knows about his contract with Kyle. Victor snarks that he made a hell of an offer. Jack fumes that if Audra had succeeded in breaking Claire's heart, Kyle would have been run out of town. "You backed him into a corner," Victor put him to the test. By signing the contract, Kyle showed more guts that Jack has in his entire lifetime. Jack and Victor continue sparring verbally until the abbot warns the mustache. If he pulls anything else with Kyle, he'll answer to him. Victor says he's no longer interfering. Jack doesn't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. He's likely planning his next move. Victor doesn't give a damn what he thinks. Jack challenges him to prove himself by tearing up the contract he made Kyle sign. They argue over Jack's claim that his family has always supported and loved the Newmans, and then the Black Knight hollers that he'll never forget Jack nearly killing his wife in that hotel room and storms out. As Victor leaves, Diane appears. Outside, Victor angrily texts Kane to see if he's made a decision about teaming up with him against Jabot. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle's stunned to hear that Claire went to Nate and told him about Audra's deal with Victor. Claire adds that Audra doubled down on her lies. Kyle's not worried because he and Claire are a team. Claire seems unconvinced about that and asks if there's anything he hasn't told her about his time in Nice with Audra. As Claire pushes for details, Kyle shakes his head and wishes he'd never met Audra. He tries convincing his girlfriend to move on, but she's unwilling. Kyle flashes to his parents, warning him about his lie of omission. He blurts, "We kissed in Nice." Claire grills Kyle and asks where he and Audra were when they kissed. He admits, "In my sleeping car." He insists he felt disgusted the entire time. He was just trying to trap her. Claire thinks it sounds like there was more to it. Kyle says there was, but he had to bust Audra. Claire accuses him of lying to her. Kyle couldn't figure out a way to tell her. Claire questions if his actions were as innocent as he claims. What possible reason did he have for keeping this from her? Kyle says he didn't tell her sooner because he was ashamed. Certainly not because he was trying to get away with it. Claire wants the details but also doubts that will make her feel any better. She rants about the Audra's insinuations. Kyle didn't want to burden Claire after the loss of her father. Claire screams, "Audra has been more honest with me than you have." Kyle understands now that he should have told her everything. She glares, "You only told me because I forced you to." Would he just have continued to lie to her otherwise? Kyle protests that he didn't want to upset her after Cole dying. Claire informs him that he's given her a reason not to trust him. She doesn't know how to handle this. Kyle vows that everything he did was to eliminate the threat Audra posed. Claire's not sure he didn't make things worse. Claire's not about making him feel better right now and walks out. At society, Jack rants to Diane about his run-in with Victor. They go over the contract he has with Kyle and whether their son is safe. Jack intones, "Victor is Victor." Diane wishes there was a surefire way to get him to stop. He tried to banish and financially destroy their son. Maybe it's time for a little counterattack. Maybe Victor needs a taste of his own medicine, Jack decides. This concerns Diane, who reminds him about the threat posed by Kane. Jack thinks he's all bark and no bite. He rants some more about the contract. Kyle signed. Victor remains a threat. Diane argues that Kyle beat Victor. Jack says, for now. He wants Victor to pay. Just then, Kyle comes in with a long face and says he admitted to Claire that he kissed Audra in Nice. The whole thing blew up in his face. Jack urges him to give her time, and then he can apologize. Kyle thinks it will take a lot more than that. He complains that Audra has finally gotten to Claire. Diane points out he did kiss her in France. Kyle has to find a way to prove his love and declares, "I'm going to ask Claire to marry me." At Crimson Lights, Claire joins Nikki and Victoria, who tells her daughter there's exciting news. Claire drops the bomb that Kyle confessed to kissing Audra in his sleeping car in Nice. He willingly kissed her and then failed to mention it, despite her giving him multiple chances. When someone lies to her, it's really triggering. Nikki's shocked, but believes Kyle loves her. Claire's not sure how to fix it. Nikki, who knows how messy relationships can be, counsels her to give herself some time. After Nikki's gone, Victoria tells Claire to do nothing right now. She should ask herself if she cares enough about Kyle to give him the benefit of the doubt in this situation. Claire can't stand secrets or deception because of Jordan. She needs to calm down before making a decision and can't forgive him right now. Nikki arrives at the ranch where Victor's pouring a drink. She questions if there's actually peace between him and Kyle. Victor confirms there is. Nikki asks if this was really a test or if he suspected from the beginning that Kyle would break Claire's heart. The mustache admits he did think Kyle would break her heart, but he's changed his mind because he withstood the temptation of Audra and stood up to him, which he respects. Nikki thinks her husband's dislike of Kyle had more to do with Jack. Victor admits he'll always despise the abbot. Nikki fumes that this feud has to end. Stubborn as ever, Victor declares the war will never